All right, welcome. Today, we're going to take a really cool journey, a deep dive into the microscopic world that, believe it or not, powers all life as we know it. We're going right to the very heart of biology to understand the fundamental building blocks of, well, everything. So let's start with a really basic question, but the answer is just so profound. When you think about the smallest little bacterium all the way up to the biggest blue whale, what is the one single thing they all have in common? And the answer, of course, is the cell. I love this analogy. Think of it as the ultimate Lego brick. With this one type of brick, you can build literally anything and everything in the living world. It's the basic unit for every single organism out there. But here's where it gets really interesting. Not all of those bricks are made the same way. In fact, the entire living world is basically split into two massive empires, all based on one major difference in how their cells are designed. And look, this isn't just some minor detail for a textbook. This difference in structure is the first, most important way that biologists classify all life on our planet. It is a fundamental split that goes back billions of years. Okay, so let's get into it. On one side, you have the eukaryotes. On the other, the prokaryotes. And the huge defining difference, the thing that splits them, is the presence of what the French call a vrai noyau, a true nucleus. It's that simple. Eukaryotes have one. Prokaryotes don't. That's the whole game. And this table here gives you some fantastic examples of where you find these guys. Eukaryotes can be single-celled, like an amoeba, or they can team up to form these incredibly complex multicellular organisms, like us, or the plant sitting on your windowsill. But prokaryotes, they are always unicellular. They are the masters of minimalism, like bacteria. So let's explore that first empire, the eukaryotes. Honestly, the best way to wrap your head around a eukaryotic cell is to picture a bustling, highly organized modern city. Every single part of this tiny city has a very specific job to do. You've got power plants, you've got factories, you've got transportation networks, all of it working in perfect harmony. And these cities, they're pretty big in the microscopic world, usually somewhere between 10 and 100 micrometers. Now, right at the center of this city is its command center, the nucleus. This is City Hall. It's this secure, walled-off office protected by a membrane, and inside it holds the most important thing of all, the cell's genetic blueprint, its DNA. This right here is the defining feature of all eukaryotes. So what do the instructions in that blueprint actually say? Well, they tell the city's factories, the ribosomes, what to build. Ribosomes are these amazing little protein-making machines, and they are constantly churning out all the essential tools and structures the cell needs to live and grow. Okay, so now let's jump over and explore the other empire. If the eukaryotic cell is this complex, sprawling city, well, the prokaryotic cell is more like a stripped-down, incredibly efficient one-room workshop. Seriously? There are no fancy departments or membrane-bound offices here. Everything just happens together in one open space. It's way smaller, too. Often 10 times smaller than a eukaryotic cell, but man, it gets the job done with unbelievable speed and efficiency. So instead of that secure city hall, the prokaryote has its genetic blueprint, the nucleoid, just kind of laying out on the workshop floor. It's a single circular chromosome, totally accessible to all the tools floating around in the cytoplasm. No walls, no waiting, just pure action. So the key thing to get is that this workshop has all the essential tools it needs. It's got the main floor, the cytoplasm. It's got protective outer walls, which are the plasma membrane and cell wall. It has the instruction manual, the nucleoid. And of course, it has the tool-making machines, the ribosomes. So we have our two great empires of life, right? The cities and the workshops. But there's another major player in the world of biology, one that doesn't belong to either empire. In fact, you could argue it isn't really life in the same way at all. This is the single most important thing to understand here. A virus is not a cell. It completely breaks all the rules we've just laid out. It has no city, it has no workshop. It is something else entirely. Viruses are the ultimate parasites. The best way to think of them is as biological pirates. They carry no machinery of their own to build anything or to generate energy. To make more of themselves, they absolutely have to invade a host cell and hijack its machinery to do all the work for them. And this hostile takeover process, it's called the lytic cycle. It's like a heist. First, the pirate ship latches onto the host cell and injects its treasure map, its genetic code. Then it hijacks the cell's ribosome factories and forces them to build new virus parts. And finally, the cell gets so stuffed with new viruses that it just bursts. It lyses, releasing a whole new fleet of pirates to go and attack other cells. Phew! Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, from these amazing cellular cities to biological pirates. So to make sure this all sticks, let's just quickly review the most important vocabulary from our explainer. All right, let's lock in these concepts. First, we have the cellule, or cell, the basic unit of all life. Then, the eukaryote, that's the cell with the true nucleus, and the prokaryote, the one without. We've got the noyau, or nucleus itself, the DNA's command center. And finally, the virus, or infectious little pirate. And to make this super useful, this table lays out these key French terms with their simple definitions and their Arabic translations, which is a great way to build your vocabulary on this really core topic. And that brings us to one final big thought. We've seen the complex, organized city planning of the eukaryote. We've seen the fast, minimalist efficiency of the prokaryote. And we've seen the ruthless, hijacking strategy of the virus. When you think about their sheer numbers, their global impact, and their incredible resilience, which of these microscopic life strategies do you think has actually proven to be the most successful on planet Earth? Something to think about.